Hey there, movie lovers. Welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're celebrating the holiday season with one of the most beloved Christmas comedies of all time, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This 1989 classic is packed with hilarious moments, unforgettable characters, and the kind of holiday chaos we all secretly love. But how much do you really know about the making of this festive favourite? So turn on the Christmas lights and let's unwrap 20 things you never knew about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Similar to the 1983 original, Christmas Vacation is inspired by a short story, Christmas 59, written by John Hughes for National Lampoon in December 1980. The film nods to its literary origins when Clark gets trapped in the attic and discovers a box of old home movies, one of which is labelled Christmas 59. Sharp-eyed viewers may spot that when Clark watches the film, the title actually reads Christmas 1955. Although some of John Hughes' films have inspired sequels, he was never a fan. He is credited as writer on European Vacation, but he claimed this was only because he had created the characters. He did, however, write the script for Christmas Vacation, but only because the studio begged for another vacation movie, and he only agreed because he had a good story to base it on. In a way, Stanley Kubrick is to thank for Christmas Vacation. The film was the directorial debut of Jeremiah Chechik, who had started his career as a fashion photographer for Vogue before moving into commercial directing. He has said that he had made beer commercials that caught the attention of Kubrick, who mentioned them as his favourite example of American filmmaking. It wasn't long before Chechik's phone started ringing, with studios sending him scripts. The script that really piqued his interest was Christmas Vacation. The reason is that he had never done any comedy, ever. And director Chechik had also never seen a vacation movie before taking on Christmas Vacation. He said, "I hadn't seen the first two, so I wasn't really influenced by anything other than the fact that it was, at the time, their big Christmas movie and a comedy. I just felt that if I could crack this, maybe there's a whole other world of filmmaking for me." After Christmas Vacation, Chechik went on to direct Benny and June, Diabolique, and The Avengers, but not the Marvel one, as well as episodes of The Bronx is Burning, Gossip Girl, Chuck, and Burn Notice. The person on the front cover of People magazine is none other than Jeremiah Chechik, the director. There have been claims that the photo is of Matty Simmons, the producer of the Vacation film series, but it isn't. While it's a fun cameo, Chevy steals the scene as Clark tries to turn the pages of the magazine with his sap-covered fingers. Cousin Eddie is based on a real person. Randy Quaid borrowed many of Eddie's mannerisms from a man he knew growing up in Texas, particularly his habit of tongue-clicking. Chevy Chase suffered a hand injury during filming. The accident occurred on screen while Clark was destroying Santa's sleigh after his second failed attempt to get the Christmas lights working. Old Saint Nick got his revenge. Chase broke his little finger during the scene. Since the cameras were rolling, he couldn't stop without ruining the take. "I had to keep kicking because it hurt so much," he said. In addition to footage from the Frank Capra classic appearing in Christmas Vacation, the film also has another fun connection to It's a Wonderful Life. Frank Capra's grandson, Frank Capra III, served as the assistant director for Christmas Vacation. If you're enjoying the video, a subscribe to the channel would make it a very Merry Christmas. The film is the only one in the Vacation series that doesn't feature Lindsey Buckingham's song Holiday Road. Instead, a new song titled Christmas Vacation was written for the film by married songwriting duo Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil. A cover of the song later appeared on the 2007 Disney Channel holiday album. Johnny Galecki had a significant scene cut from the film, and he still regrets it to this day. In both of the previous Vacation films, Clark and Rusty share a heartfelt chat, but in Christmas Vacation, they don't have one. A dialogue-driven man-to-man scene written by John Hughes was never included in the final shooting script. On set, Chevy Chase wanted to film the scene, but Galecki felt differently. "I literally talked myself out of what could have been a classic scene with Chevy Chase. I realised the error of my ways," Galecki has said. I still kick myself in the ass for this every day. Galecki has also shared that while the script required Rusty to do some heavy comedic lifting, his own sense of timing wasn't quite on point. According to the actor, Chevy would help him out, especially with the timing, and tell him some ad-libs to say. During lunch breaks, Chase would often take his co-star to the sets of Harlem Nights and Ghostbusters 2. Here I am at 13, being introduced to Red Fox, Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Richard Pryor, and all these incredible comedic icons, said Galecki. He didn't have to do that. It's still very touching to me. To help Chevy Chase nail that expletive-filled tirade, his fellow actors wore cue cards. Each of the actors had a piece of rope around their necks attached to a big cue card. The rant was divided into sections, so Chase could go all the way through from start to finish without the risk of forgetting his lines. As the police are breaking down doors and busting windows to save Frank, they yell "freeze" to everyone in the house. Ellen comically freezes with one hand on Clark's crotch. As it turns out, Beverly D'Angelo improvised this moment in just one take, as it wasn't planned. The take that the editing team chose ended up being the one where Ellen is hilariously grabbing her husband's privates. Eddie's son Rocky doesn't utter a single word throughout the entire film. All the presents on Mr. Shirley's office desk, including Clark's, are identical in size and shape, despite being wrapped differently. In one scene, Clark, armed with a chainsaw, decides to cut off the wobbly newel post on the staircase rather than fix it. However, just after that, when the family discovers a squirrel in their Christmas tree and runs screaming up the stairs, the newel post mysteriously reappears. Clark Griswold grew up in Samantha Stevens' house. If Clark's childhood home in those old movies looks familiar, that's because it's the same house featured in Bewitched, as well as the new Gidget. However, it's not actually a house, it's part of the Warner Brothers backlot, located on what's known as Blondie Street. The rest of the Griswolds' neighbourhood is also on a studio backlot, and if the home of their snooty neighbours Todd and Margot looks familiar, that's because it's the same one where Roger Murtaugh and his family lived in Lethal Weapon. Cleveland area fans can visit a genuine Griswold house each Christmas. Every year, Christmas Vacation superfan Greg Osterland and his family decorate their Ohio home with an exact replica of Clark's over-the-top lighting display. In 2019, they even added a replica of Cousin Eddie's battered RV. Visitors are encouraged to make donations to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation's Great Strides campaign. The movie had a huge budget, especially for a comedy, of around $27 million. This was particularly high considering the film had no special effects like Ghostbusters, which was made for around $30 million. However, it had no trouble making its budget back, with the film's final domestic gross surpassing $70 million. While the holiday season is typically filled with Christmas-themed films, Christmas Vacation was one of just 2 released in 1989. The other was John Hancock's Prancer. Johnny Galecki, aka Rusty Griswold, starred in them both. It's the only sequel in the Vacation franchise to have its own sequel. The 2003 film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure, was made for TV. It follows Randy Quaid and Miriam Flynn as they are stranded on a South Pacific island for the holidays. Dana Barron, who played Audrey in the original Vacation, reprises her role for the sequel. Eric Idle, who appeared in European Vacation, also makes an appearance playing English Victim. To say it's not a patch on the original would be an understatement. The film currently holds a 13% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Various members of the cast have reunited for several TV commercials over the years, but Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo and Juliette Lewis reunited in 2012 to film a series of Old Navy commercials for the holiday season. Although Johnny Galecki wasn't part of the reunion, 2 previous Rusties, Anthony Michael Hall and Jason Lively were, along with Dana Barron. Well, from all of us here at Rocky Watches Movies, we wish you a very Merry Christmas. And if you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to the channel. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one, bye for now.